Welcome back to the channel, guys. This is your boy Grant. We've got another quick video for you guys. Just a little informational. I'm sure you guys can tell from the thumbnail. This one here is going to go over the clusters that are actually available for whether either they came stock or available as upgrades on the F10. They're also available, I guess, on your 6 Series and your 7 Series BMW. So we'll jump into that real quick. Sitting over here, but let's jump into these clusters. I've actually been thinking about doing this video for a long time, but there are 3 iterations of clusters that are available. Of course, you have your standard analog cluster. This is typically going to be available on your 2011 and 12 BMWs. I want to say in 13, and I could be wrong, but the 6WA became available. So you'll see that it's a partial digital cluster. So of course, this one here is completely analog. This one here is partially digital. And then you have your 6WB cluster, which is I always call it your bad boy cluster. This is the one that everybody likes to upgrade to. But it is a really sweet cluster. This was actually in the United States was not available on any 5 Series. It was only available on 6 Series and 7 Series. I believe in Canada, starting in like 2016, I think the 5 Series started getting these digital clusters. But this is a really big upgrade for a lot of guys if you're looking at jumping into a cluster or basically updating the interior of your car. So one big thing is, just so you guys can know, size-wise, these things are identical. You're not going to have to do any modifications to your vehicle to fit any one of these clusters. I assume no one's going to be stepping down to the analog cluster, so you're always looking at either the 6WA or the 6WB, but they are VIN locked. So you cannot just go pick one of these clusters up in like a junkyard or whatnot. They actually do have to be virginized, is what they call it, which is basically removing the VIN that's actually stored in the computer chip on these clusters. If not, you will actually set the cluster into like an anti-theft mode. You'll basically get like a red dot that shows up in the cluster. And then anytime you actually turn the ignition of your vehicle on, it will automatically add 5 miles to your car every single time, as well as you will not get all of the features that are supposed to be coded into the cluster. All of them will not function. Which actually brings me to another thing. If you're actually coming from an analog cluster or even a 6WA and you want to go to a 6WB, you do have to have your car coded for it. As you can imagine, your car is actually coded probably for 6W or analog or 6WA, but there's new features in the 6WB that you actually have to have somebody code your car so that you can take advantage of those features. Even when I stepped up from the analog cluster to the 6WA, I had to have my vehicle coded. So just something to keep in mind. Real quick here, I'm going to turn the clusters around and kind of show you those connections. So we've got all 3 clusters turned around. Of course, your analog cluster, you have a plug here. If you actually have a heads-up display option, you will actually have another connection that will show up here. My car does not have heads-up display, so I don't have that, or it didn't come on my analog cluster. As you can see, the 6WA that I'm running, again, same connection. You'll see that same connection on your 6WB, but it has the heads-up display connection. So that kind of tells you, like, if you do not have heads-up display on your vehicle, you can actually run a non-heads-up display model or a heads-up display model. It does not matter. But if you do have heads-up display on your car and you want to run heads-up display, you have to get a heads-up display model to be able to make that function. And that's what this connection up here is for that heads-up display. But as you can see, the main connection for these are going to be identical on each one of these models. I actually have a spare one here, which it just looks like this, and that is actually going to connect into any of these models. So they are interchangeable. Like I said, you just do have to have your car coded. And this is the 6WA partial digital cluster. As you guys can see, it is definitely an upgrade from your analog cluster. Sorry guys, I haven't drove the car in about a week, so I gotta get gas. But it actually is really nice when you actually go into, I don't think it actually changes, let me see. So you go into Sport or Sport Plus, you don't get the different animations or color changes that you see on the 6WB, but you do, it's hard to do it in the middle of the day, but I was saying at nighttime, you will actually get a color shift where your gauges will actually turn kind of an amber or a red color, and that just is to help with night driving. But definitely a nice upgrade from the stock analog cluster that you'll see on, I believe, mainly the 2011 and 12 models, maybe some 13s. Okay. And we've got the 6WB installed in the car. Again, I'm only going to do this once because, again, it will add mileage to my car because it has not been virginized. But if we turn our ignition on there, You can see it light up. Like I said, it's full digital display. It's really pretty display, if you can see that. So again, as you can see, some of the errors popping up, and that's just because this has not been coded for my car, or my car has not been coded to accept the 6WB at this time, and that's where you're getting some of these malfunction errors. I don't know if it'll even go. So we're switching over. This here is now sport mode. So that is one of the really cool things, is when you actually go into sport mode, you get just the numerical display of your miles per hour. You get the red tint. It just looks really nice. But there are some really cool things with this cluster. So it's a really cool upgrade for a lot of people. And one thing just to point out there, you can see that red dot that popped up there. That is one of the anti-theft, just kind of a signal letting you know that this is not, that the VIN on the cluster does not match the VIN on the car's DME. So it's just, like I said, it's just extra protection for those that are out there, you know, stealing clusters out of cars and that sort of thing. You can always tell if this is original to the car before it's actually been coded or virginized. Okay, so hopefully you guys saw the little insert videos that I put on the 6WA and 6WB. I'm not going to worry about doing the analog cluster because it looks the exact same. So hopefully this video will help somebody in the future if you guys are looking at clusters, and it helps you decide or determine if you want to do an upgrade. I really like the 6WA as an upgrade from my analog cluster. Eventually I'll probably want to keep one of these 6WBs and put it in my car. The only issue that I've actually heard of with this 6WB is after time, I've heard that the LCDs on these clusters can go out. Now, I've only seen one cluster that I've actually held myself that's had that issue, and from what I understand, it's not repairable. So you know, unless something has happened and there's a way to replace those LCD screens. So that is the only thing that you kind of gamble on. But they are a really nice way to update the interior of your F10. So if this is your first time to the channel, make sure you guys like and subscribe. If you want to see any other videos like this, comments down below. Let me know what other questions you guys might have. But I've actually seen a lot of questions regarding these clusters on whether or not there, what was necessary to actually swap over from the analog to the 6WA to the 6WB. So I wanted to do this quick video and see if we can answer some of those questions for you guys. So you guys be safe, and we will catch you guys in the next video.